Travel with Catholic Communications in August 2022 for the pilgrimage of a lifetime as we experience the famous Oberammergau Passion Play. Join pilgrimage leader Father Gary Daly for the spiritual journey to Germany and the village of Oberammergau, where since 1634 the Passion Play has been presented every 10 years in this quaint alpine village. Our 10-day pilgrimage from August 4th to the 14th will begin in Brussels, Belgium, and continue through Cologne, Heidelberg, Oberammergau, and Munich, Germany. With breakfasts and dinners included, pilgrims will enjoy daily Mass in many of Germany's brilliant cathedrals and churches, a cruise on the Rhine River, a visit to the Schoenstatt Pilgrimage Shrine, dedicated to the Blessed Virgin, and to Munich's famous Glockenspiel. Book this incredible pilgrimage now for $5,439. For more information, go to iobserve.org.
Coming up on this edition of Reel to Reel.
Students in Catholic schools go back to class. I'm Carolee McGrath. I'll have the story coming up.
After the long separation of the pandemic, the children at St. Michael's Parish got on board the Rocky Railway. I'm Rebecca Drake, and I'll take you along for the ride.
And Dan Dumas brings us the latest in news from the Diocese of Springfield. These stories are coming your way next on Reel to Reel. Hello and welcome to Reel on this Labor Day weekend. Well, it's back to school for area students, and with the start of the academic year comes changes and some challenges. Carolee McGrath has been out and about visiting a few Catholic schools to see what's new this September.
Can we follow directions?
Yeah. It's circle time in Miss O'Brien's first grade class at St. Mary's School in Lee, where students are getting back into the swing of things. Even with the constraints of COVID last year, students were in person, with everyone following all of the necessary precautions. And now they're ready to do it again.
Last year went great. We did not close at all. We didn't have to close a cohort. We didn't have to go remote. We were in person the entire year.
Yes.
Enrollment is up at St. Mary's in Lee, and there are waiting lists. And it's the same story at Pope Francis Preparatory School in Springfield, where students have been in school since August 25th.
We're ready. I mean, we were ready last year, we're ready again. It's day by day, right? The kids are excited to be back in school. Sounds crazy, but kids in high school are happy to be back. Enrollment's up, so that's good. We're at 390 kids, so we're up about 10% over last year.
Pope Francis also has a new chaplain, Father Stanislas Achu, parochial vicar at Holy Name Parish in Springfield.
I'll be here primarily to give pastoral care for the whole community, the faculty, the staff, and the students, to say Mass once a week, to be present in their classes, especially their theology and religion classes, to get to know the kids also better, and I will be around in their games and all those to pray with them, to cheer them up as they're playing and all those. So basically being here as a pastor, a father for them.
Last year, the Catholic Schools Office made the bold decision to bring students back into the classroom when most schools in the area were remote or hybrid at best until at least the spring. And while some people were hesitant, the plan worked.
So you get to look around the room and find somebody that has different colored eyes.
Dan Belarjan, the superintendent of Catholic schools for the diocese, says overall enrollment is up 6% and there are waiting lists in most of the schools. This year, after consulting with health and environmental experts, the Catholic Schools Office made the decision to allow parents to decide whether or not their children will wear masks in the classroom, although masks are still strongly recommended. Each school is working with their local health department, and each school is equipped with a medical-grade purifier.
We know that what we've done works. It's all these other environmental protections that we have in place that are working. And as a result, we didn't have any learning loss in the Diocese of Springfield schools. We actually were able to keep the students moving as they were supposed to. And I reflect on the letter that he wrote, getting back to better. And that needs to guide what we do as a diocese.
Mind, body, and our soul. Bingo! Yay!
Bishop William Byrne helped the St. Mary's Saints in Westfield kick off their year with a retreat for the high school and Mass for all grades.
We're made mind, body, and spirit. And the beauty of Catholic education is that we educate not just the mind in the best possible way, education, great sports and fun, but also spirit. We don't have to go to Mass, we get to go to Mass, we get to pray. And that's the power of a Catholic education.
It's really important to go to Mass when you're in a Catholic school so you can show your love for Jesus and God.
We start off the morning with prayer. It's just great, it kind of gets you focused, and it is a great way to start your day.
Enrollment is also up at St. Mary's High School.
We ended the school year last year with 84 students, and we opened up this year with 105. So when I took over as a principal 4 years ago now, we had 67 students. So we have an amazing increase in enrollment over the past 4 years, and we're just doing great things. So it's pretty awesome to see.
Susan Sullivan is the new principal at St. Mary's Elementary School in Westfield. Her appointment followed the unexpected death of the school's longtime principal, Julie Jensen Derrig, last June. Sullivan says she'll continue to honor Derrigg's legacy while moving the school forward.
We're talking about maybe doing a garden and a tree in front of the preschool. I know that was close to Julie's heart. It's when you see those little ones, they're so adorable. So there's many things that we can do, and we're going to involve everyone in the community on that, and do a nice dedication and hopefully involve her family as well. So I think the staff is very encouraged by that. They feel a little bit comforted by that it's not just someone coming in and cracking the whip and we're moving on. No, we're just going to keep Julie's memory alive.
So with prayer and enthusiasm, Catholic school students are taking on the new year and sharing their love of Christ along the way. Reporting for Reel to Reel, I'm Carolee McGrath.
I'm Dan Dumas with your Reel to Reel news briefs. Many Catholic homeschool families in the Diocese of Springfield share communion together on the first Friday of each month. Recently, Springfield Bishop William Byrne celebrated a Mass with several families. Nick Morganelli tells us more.
Incense filled the air as a choir mostly comprised of homeschooled youth raised their voices with beautiful song for this celebration to bless and honor homeschooled students and families. Mary Kate Henley, mom of 8 and a 20-year veteran homeschooling parent, attended with 4 of her youngest children.
It is wonderful to have a bishop who recognizes that home education is Catholic education, that our families are a big part of the Catholic community here. And so to have him celebrate our end of year Mass with us really is a wonderful thing.
Most of the time when we think of Catholic education, we think of a Catholic school. But in the baptismal ritual it says, parents are the first teachers of their children in the ways of the faith. And that's what homeschooling does. So I celebrate parents taking this option and wanting to make sure that they know that they're an important part of Catholic education.
Bishop Byrne recognizes that whether it is through Catholic schools or homeschooling, meeting the academic and spiritual needs of our children is the primary goal.
Homeschooling parents, they should be an inspiration to all parents to say, wait a second, we can own this and we can take responsibility in our own way to make sure we do what's best for our kids.
Following the Mass, families met Bishop Byrne and enjoyed perfect reception weather for fellowship.
We are so blessed to have such a wonderful community here. The network of families really does make the difference in not just having people to have play dates with or to play soccer with, but to go to Mass together and to celebrate sacraments. It really is it makes our faith life central to our schoolwork.
If you have an interest in homeschooling, you can contact Western Mass Catholic homeschoolers through their Facebook page or email Kendra Steinman, kfsteinman@gmail.com. Celebrating the school year in Westfield, Massachusetts, I'm Nick Morganelli.
Homework House, the Holyoke after-school tutoring ministry, hosted a retirement party for 4 outstanding Sisters of St. Joseph who have contributed much to its success. David Martin has the story.
The celebration honored all Sisters of St. Joseph who have provided support to Homework House since its beginnings in 2007. The summer barbecue marked the retirement of its founders, Sisters of St. Joseph Jane Morrissey and Maureen Brohan. Also retiring are Sisters of St. Joseph Margaret Kenny and Kathleen and Bruno, both longtime staff members at Homework House.
Our charism is to unite neighbor with neighbor, neighbor with God. And by going into the neighborhoods, going into their homes, going into their situations, we brought a lot of families together. We brought a lot of the surrounding communities together.
As the program began, the children from Homework House, some with their parents, came up to offer thanks to the sisters. Sister Morrissey shared how a Holyoke High School student once summed up her experience at Homework House.
She said, "You know what you're trying to do? You're trying to give your childhood and all the joys that were in it to others." And I thought, you know, you're right. And when that spreads and you see a whole family's life change.
Holyoke Mayor Terrence Murphy gave proclamations to each of the sisters, congratulating them for their dedicated work at Homework House and for making the city of Holyoke a better place. He wished them well in their retirement and future endeavors. In Holyoke, I'm David Martin.
Congratulations and best wishes to the sisters. We wish you many enjoyable years of retirement. And in the blistering heat of late July, a small group of young Catholics set out from eastern Massachusetts on foot to trek across the state. Their destination was the National Shrine of Divine Mercy in Stockbridge. But it was the time spent in prayer, the faith sharing, and their personal encounters along the way that made this a true journey of faith. Kathy Harrington reports.
I've had the idea of doing this kind of like walking pilgrimage for a while.
The inspiration came while traveling in Poland amid thousands of tourists.
We could probably benefit from a little culture of pilgrimage in the United States, I think.
The idea landed on 4 willing spirits, including Hayden Cowart, a convert to Catholicism, originally from North Texas, who was inspired to go by the podcasts of the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal.
Learning how to pray through distractions and pain, having this destination that you can't see yet.
Cowart says the TV show The Chosen comes to mind on the daily 18-mile walks.
So the basic thing is just like wanting to say yes to the call to follow Christ.
So, sort of feel like the apostles, we're like, we have Jesus as our head, which is Father Michael, leading us. We are sort of his like mishmash band of apostles that follow behind and complain sometimes, and he keeps us in line.
Claire Pierce is a convert to Catholicism. A long way from her Idaho home, Pierce was a cross-country runner in school. Still, this trek is challenging.
Prayer is helpful, the meditation of, step by step, rosary bead by rosary bead, we make our way toward heaven and toward our, destination for the night.
After a morning visit to Our Lady of Fatima in Ludlow, they head to Westfield and Our Lady of the Blessed Sacrament, where they find dinner, showers, and AC for the night. Kelsey Cronin explains the schedule.
And we're walking for like 6 to 8 hours, and then we usually get to our destination in the evening, kind of unpack, have dinner, do our car shuttle, and then we do a holy hour and night prayer, and then get to bed. We wake up around 6, we pack up all our stuff, and then we have Mass at 6:30. We do morning prayer as well, and then we start our foot care routine, take care of all our blisters, bandage up our feet, eat breakfast, we do our car shuttle, and then we start the walk.
New Jersey-born Cronin was raised Catholic, but experienced a reversion to the faith in college. Now she's director of social media and marketing for Catholic TV. Calling this walk of faith purgative and sanctifying, it was a come-to-Jesus moment in college for Francis Stanton that changed his life.
I basically became like a sponge, reading the catechism, reading the Bible, reading some of the saints, apologetics like G.K. Chesterton and stuff like that.
This fall, his renewed faith leads him into the classroom to teach high school theology.
This pilgrimage has been a real blessing, a real joy. It's not, I'd recommend people do something like this, but it's also not something to be entered into lightly.
His parting words of wisdom, take care of your feet. In Westfield, I'm Kathy Harrington for Reel to Reel.
In other news, due to the ongoing humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, the Diocese of Springfield's Catholic Charities Agency is seeking support as they are anticipating the arrival of 50 to 60 evacuees from Afghanistan in the coming months, the main needs being permanent housing.
Part of the reason we're reaching out to parishes is sometimes they have buildings, rectories, or other things that might be vacant, maybe a convent, We're also just reaching out to schools and others that might have this kind of space that they would be willing to let us use for up to 90 days.
To help assist the evacuees get the items they need to establish their new homes, monetary donations are always welcome. Gift cards to Walmart, Target, Big Y, and Stop & Shop are also being accepted at the Catholic Charities office. The details of how you can help, including volunteer opportunities, can be found through a link on iobserve.org. Remember, you can always stay informed on all the latest news in the Catholic Church, locally and beyond, by logging on to iobserve.org. There you can read articles written by our Catholic communication staff, as well as view archived episodes of Real to Real. That's iobserve.org. I'm Dan Dumas, and those were Real to Real News Briefs.
Thanks, Dan, and we have more ahead for you on this edition of Real to Real. The annual Faith on Fire is just around the corner. We'll have all the details. And Rebecca Drake takes us aboard the Rocky Railway as kids have mountains of fun at Vacation Bible School. These stories are still ahead on Real to Real.
The Chalice of Salvation, your weekly spiritual connection. I'm your Chalice host, Passionate Brother Terrence Scanlon, asking you to take time out of your busy day and join us Sunday morning. Join us live at Forest Park as Bishop Byrne celebrates Labor Day weekend Mass for our essential workers. That's the Chalice of Salvation live this Sunday on WWLP TV 22. Please join us.
Here are 5 reasons to support the annual Catholic Appeal. 1. Emergency assistance to those in need. 2. Inspiring young people to grow in their faith. 3. Keeping our homebound connected in the faith. 4. Crisis help for young families. And 5. Catholic education, forming our future leaders in mind and heart. We are sowing the seeds of God's love with your contribution. Please donate today online at diospringfield.org.
Travel with Catholic Communications in August 2022 for the pilgrimage of a lifetime as we experience the famous Oberammergau Passion Play. Join pilgrimage leader Father Gary Daly for the spiritual journey to Germany and the village of Oberammergau, where since 1634 the Passion Play has been presented every 10 years in this quaint alpine village. Our 10-day pilgrimage from August 4th to the 14th will begin in Brussels, Belgium, and continue through Cologne, Heidelberg, Oberammergau, and Munich, Germany. With breakfasts and dinners included, pilgrims will enjoy daily Mass in many of Germany's brilliant cathedrals and churches, a cruise on the Rhine River, a visit to the Schönstatt Pilgrimage Shrine, dedicated to the Blessed Virgin, and to Munich's famous Glockenspiel. Book this incredible pilgrimage now for $5,439. For more information, go to iobserve.org.
Join Bishop William Byrne Sunday, September 5th for a special Labor Day weekend Mass honoring essential workers who worked throughout the pandemic. The 10 a.m. Mass will be live from the Forest Park Amphitheater on 22 News as part of the Chalice of Salvation. First responders, healthcare, retail and grocery workers, educators, commercial and public transportation drivers, and all others are invited. Admission to the park will be free. Bring a lawn chair and join us September 5th at 10.
You are watching Real to Real, your window on the world around you. Here again is your Real to Real host, Sharon Roulier.
Joining me now is Deb Bryan-Sesko of Sacred Heart Parish in Feeding Hills to talk about the annual Faith on Fire rally coming up in just under 2 weeks now. Welcome and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Sharon. Happy to be here.
So, Faith on Fire has been an annual event at Sacred Heart for several years now, and one that folks are always looking forward to. Unfortunately, we didn't get to have it last year because of the pandemic, and especially now, I think people are in need more than ever for prayer, spirituality, and just time spending with God. Tell us what you have planned.
Well, we are blessed to have 3 very powerful speakers. We have our bishop, and we have Father Valentine, and we have Sister Dee Dee Byrne. So that promises to bring a lot of excitement and inspiration to all of us. We have opportunity for reconciliation. At the moment, we have about 9 priests that have committed to be there, and we have 13 stations. So if anybody is interested in wanting to fill those other, few places, we would love to have you. There's a tent for prayer, for extra prayers, so there'll be prayer teams under there. There is a beautiful candlelit procession at dusk with our Holy Eucharist, and then there'll be some praying with laying of the hands, just like we've done every year.
So if people want to attend, what are the details again?
It's a free event. It is open to absolutely everyone, so you don't have to call, you don't have to write in, get tickets or anything. You just come. It starts at 6 o'clock at Sacred Heart Parish grounds at 1065 Springfield Street. And we ask folks to try to get there a little early for parking if you could. And the event starts at 6 o'clock, and there's no end time because we kind of got the feeling this is going to be a really big year, and we didn't want folks to think that we were going to cut it short. So we're going to let the Lord take over and do the work that He does, which is always better than anything we could ever dream of.
All right, Deb, Brian Sesko, thanks so much for being with us today, and best wishes to you for a successful Faith on Fire.
Thank you so much, Sharon. Appreciate it. God bless.
And again, if folks would like more information, we have all the details at iobserve.org. For many young people, part of their summer tradition involves vacation Bible camps. As parishes throughout the Springfield Diocese dealt with pandemic restrictions during the last year, religious educators worked diligently to keep children connected to their faith and to each other. The return of in-person Bible camps this year was a time of joy and celebration for both young people and adults. Rebecca Drake spent the day at one of those camps and has the story.
After the long separation of the pandemic, youngsters at St. Michael Parish in East Longmeadow were ready to ride the Rocky Railway.
I found the minute we gathered in the gym, the kids were glued, they were ready, they were on, and I said, how much did we miss one another this year? And they went wild.
12-year-old Matthew Cloutier, who was serving as a camp counselor for the first time, said missing his friends during the pandemic taught him an important lesson.
You should never take anything for granted. If you have a bunch of friends, you should keep those friends, and you shouldn't be just say I can get new friends. It's because if something like this happens, you'd want to see your friends.
And Stella says the children aren't the only ones who learn from the camp experience.
These Bible camp themes, when you might think they're for children. This is Rocky Railway, where Jesus' power pulls us through. And in the difficulties we've had trying to plan for this camp, to do it COVID safe and watching out for weather, we have had to trust in Jesus.
In spite of the challenges of the pandemic, the staff and families at St. Michael's found inspiration in their faith and in each other.
Our teachers were absolutely amazing when it came to devoting their hearts, their time, their love to create not only lessons for the young ones to stay close to God through, but also they, in a sure and certain way, in an inspiring way, were close to them too.
Assistant Religious Education Director Sue Lamondia says credit also is due to the parish families who stepped up to support the faith formation of their children during the pandemic.
St. Michael's is such a beautiful and unique parish, and we have so many young families who sort of embraced whatever it was that we were going to offer them.
And while the efforts of staff and families helped the youngest parishioners carry the light of faith through the dark days of separation, the return of Bible camp proved there is no substitute for sharing the love of Jesus in person.
Especially after last year and missing out, You know, their hearts were yearning for that. They were hoping for that. There's a reason why when we register, there's a waiting list, because there's just that beautiful yearning of the human heart to have that feeling of family, that feeling of relating to God in a way that's real for them.
Seeing the happiness of the children also is a sign of hope, said Father Biernat.
It's exciting to see the future of our church, the real future of our church, embrace their relationship not as an obligation, but as a friendship, as with a loving God who just wants to walk with them, not judge them, but inspire them and love them.
Camp counselor Lindsay Rivers, a former camper herself, says the children aren't the only ones who were excited to return to Bible camp.
I think it really brings a lot of joy to the parish. It makes everyone feel like more together, and even through last year through COVID, I got to do it, and having everyone back here again is just really happy.
For this 13-year-old, volunteering at the camp also is a way she can give back to her parish.
When I was here, it always made me so happy and connect to everyone, and I wanted to do the same thing for these other kids.
Catechetical leader Lamondia agrees that returning to in-person Bible camp reminds parishioners of the most important lesson learned during the pandemic.
We're standing on a spinning planet that every day brings a challenge, right? Whether it's in the pandemic or not. And if this pandemic hasn't taught us to be more connected, or how connected we are, and to be more flexible, then it has taught us nothing.
In addition to each other, the faithful have had one more powerful ally in facing the challenges of the last year, says Stella.
It is our deep prayer that our children will walk out of this camp understanding that hard things happen. Hard things happen. God doesn't take those away, but God is with us, and God's Spirit gives us the power to get through anything.
And when it comes to trusting in God's loving care, these youngsters are definitely on the right track. For Real to Real, I'm Rebecca Drake.
Certainly true that the enthusiasm of our youngest parishioners is an inspiration to all of us. And the Bible camp at St. Michael's Parish also is featured in the August issue of the Catholic Mirror. You can read the online issue by clicking on the Catholic Mirror link on iobserve.org. And for this week, that's Real to Real. Thank you so much for watching. Before we go, a reminder that the annual Faith on Fire rally will be held Friday, September 10th at Sacred Heart Parish in Feeding Hills. Springfield Bishop William Byrne and his sister, Sister Deirdre Byrne of the Little Workers of the Sacred Heart, will be the keynote speakers along with Father Valentine Nuora. The event will also include praise and worship music and Eucharistic adoration. Again, that's Friday, September 10th at 6 p.m. at Sacred Heart Parish in Feeding Hills. And for viewers on WWLP 22 News, don't forget to join Bishop William Byrne tomorrow morning for a very special Labor Day weekend Mass honoring essential workers to be held at the Forest Park Amphitheater at 10 a.m. All are invited to attend in person or as part of tomorrow's Chalice of Salvation Mass. Hope to see many of you there. Be sure to also follow the latest news of the Catholic Church, both here in the Diocese of Springfield and around the world on our news and information site, iobserve.org, and also on Facebook at Catholic Communications. And I will see you right back here next week for another edition of Real to Real, your window on the world around you. See you then.
Real to Real is a production of the Catholic Communications Corporation, funded in part by the annual Catholic Appeal, and the support of you, our faithful viewers.